Hey, Chrissy here. I am a landscape architect and the owner of Kismet Design. I am a very process-driven designer, and I love sharing what I do and how I do it with anyone who's interested. Reaching your true potential and achieving your own personal goals will not happen by chance. You have to set your intentions, make a plan, and do the work. Thank you for joining me to nerd out on design. Don't forget to subscribe and to share too. Let's create something great together. They say that your potential is influenced by the 5 people you spend the most time with. I don't know who they are, but I won't dispute that. There's a lot of truth in that, but I also think that the net of influence spans much greater than 5 people. I also think it depends on the person. For me, my most influential group that I spend the most time with is probably a bit smaller than 5. But the next tier of influence is much larger. I think some of this is likely relative to how introverted or extroverted someone is. Opportunity for personal and business growth can come from anywhere. Often, it is a product of being in the right place at the right time. Call it luck, call it destiny, hard work, intuition. Maybe it's a combination. Regardless, those relationships that we build can have a great impact on those opportunities that we encounter. The older I get, the more awkward it feels to make new friends. And I think a lot of that is because most of my most lasting friendships were born of proximity. Whether it is a neighbor or a classmate, you find yourself in close proximity on a regular basis to many more people when you're younger. And you slowly get to know those people. And over time, a few stand out as stronger connections. I do have a friend or two that seem to be instant connections, but it seems to be the exception rather than the rule. It is often said that entrepreneurship is lonely. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. The kicker is you have to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. You have to reach out and schedule lunch with a colleague. The days of meeting someone in the lunchroom every day are gone for most of us. Sure, there are those that work at large companies or hospitals or schools that still have that experience. But I think for most of us that are out there working in or running small businesses, that experience was a childhood experience alone. There are a handful of colleagues that I try to get together with on a recurring basis. I am so very grateful for those friendships. They are very valuable to me. I have found most, if not all of them, through my local APLD chapter. Being part of a network like APLD has many benefits, but the networking and education are the top 2, in my opinion. Some of the value of these relationships is the camaraderie. Sometimes it is in having someone to bounce ideas off of. Maybe it's a trusted opinion to get a referral for a new accountant. Maybe it's just having someone to talk with that really understands what it's like to run a business and being able to compare notes and stories and experiences. All of that can be quite cathartic. I don't think I have to tell you the value that those people have in your life. It's that next tier of people that are often overlooked. It's those around you on a recurring basis that you only have soft touches with. You likely don't know their spouse's name, and maybe only know that they have a dog because they posted a photo on Instagram last week. Nonetheless, your paths cross on a regular enough basis that you know enough about them to feel like they are more than just an acquaintance. There isn't a good word for this kind of relationship, but it is exactly the type of relationship that is often an undervalued one. We're going to call this person Amy so I can stop saying they. Amy is likely that person you see at a networking event that you always make a point to say hi, how you doing? And you have a nice conversation with. When someone mentions her in a different setting, you say, oh yes, Amy is so nice. It is these connections that help you to cast a wider net. Are you looking to hire someone? Are you promoting an event you're spearheading? Looking for a contractor referral? Amy's your gal. When she is looking for the same, you likely feel engaged and influenced to help her out as well, even if it's asking someone closer in your circle for a reference to pass along to her. This is where the net really starts to become visible. If you picture for me concentric circles around you, and each person you know. Some of them will overlap and some won't. Each of you has an inner circle. That is the closest 5 people that are your ride or die people. These people are rarely in your same profession. The circle around that may be a mix of close colleagues, those friends that you call and make regular lunch meetings with, family, and additional friends. The circle beyond that contains the Amy's, and outside of that is the circle of acquaintances and strangers that spreads kind of like a gradient outward. This circle of Amy's gives you a much bigger footprint, much bigger reach. Amy might even be only a friend that you connect with on social media, but at a greater degree than all those random connections. The influence they have on the opportunities that come your way is amazing. If someone calls or emails me out of the blue and says to me, "Hey, I got your contact from Amy. She said you would be great to touch base with on X." I am typically going to be like, "Great, how can I help?" When Amy knows I'm looking to grow my speaking and teaching opportunities, and she hears of someone in her circle of Amy's looking for a presenter, guess what? Yep, that is an opportunity I would have otherwise had zero connection to, but now it's on my desk. As much as I hate to bring up the pandemic, I feel like I can't talk about this without mentioning that this circle of Amy's is the relationships that we all lost during the pandemic. The soft touches and micro meetings ended with social distancing. I think that is what contributed to many people feeling lonely and out of touch, even though they still had their close tribe at their fingertips. The good thing is those relationships are coming back. I have found that this podcast has grown my circle of Amy's in my life, and I love it. It gives me a reach I wouldn't have otherwise. I also think that my willingness to share and be open on the podcast has helped me to be more approachable to people and include me in their circle of Amy. If I'm willing to put something out to anyone who might find it on Spotify, surely someone that I've met a few times can call me with a question. I am excited to see this continue to grow as well. So if you don't want to start a podcast but still want more Amy in your life, make it a point to go to local events to network. That can be in a group like APLD or ASLA, or even be your local Chamber of Commerce if you don't have any of those groups locally. Say hi to people you recognize and be awkward and tell them that you don't remember their name. Likely, they don't remember yours either. If you do that, the chances of remembering them next time and recruiting them to your team of Amy's is better. When you chat and make those connections, whether it's a common interest or a common acquaintance, that relationship grows. Connections on social media can be intentional about commenting and keeping that connection and those relationships alive, even if you don't live in the same area. I would love it if you would comment or message me and tell me what opportunities the Amy's in your life have helped you with. I am also collecting a list of questions that I have received that don't warrant a full episode. So I'm thinking of doing a Q&A episode. So if you've got a question that might not be a full topic that you think would be of value for someone listening, please reach out and let me know. As I wrap up, I feel like the most important thing about networking worth mentioning is that it's not really, how do I say this? It's not really about you. And I feel like when I was younger, I would get really very kind of overwhelmed and a little scared and skittish in networking situations because I didn't really know how to navigate it. And being an introvert, that made it harder. But now I have a totally different perspective. Now when I'm in groups like that, I'm just looking to make connections and be able to get to know people better. And really the goal is not what those people can do for me, but more if there's something that I can do to add value to them. And so for those of you that are younger or just starting out in the industry, I think that's an important mindset to have, because if you are in that position, you don't have a whole lot of value to add to those around you because you're looking for information and to glom on and get as much input and advice and inspiration from others as you can. And that's okay. Like, that is a really valuable role. And knowing that those of us that have been in the industry longer and do have that valuable experience and advice, that's what we're looking to do, is to give that away and to be able to add value to those around us. And I think that that's part of it. And it depends on the event, on the setting, but I feel like especially among the group of extraordinary people in the APLD community in Washington, it's really great because we all are looking to build each other up and celebrate each other's wins. And whenever anyone has a question or something that they need help troubleshooting on, there's a whole group of us that are willing to step in and add advice, or ask the hard questions of, have you thought about this, or maybe this isn't the best fit for that. And so I think it's really good. And so that really is what building a network is about. It's not necessarily this kind of marketing weird kind of four-letter word that can feel awkward and uncomfortable. Really, it's just about building community and finding people that you have connections with, that you can grow and build and enjoy spending time with together. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the ideas discussed today have left you feeling excited and energized. As I build both my business and my life, I value the support and feedback you provide. I would love for you to reach out to me to let me know what you think, give me ideas, or just to connect. Please don't forget to subscribe and also share with a friend. Until next time, go create something wonderful.